Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I am Hasham. Last video I have explained you about the different methods of computing the specific cost. That means how to calculate the cost of debt, cost of preference, cost of equity. Now one more cost is there, cost of retained earnings. So in this video, this is the last video on cost of capital. 3 videos will give you the complete theory of the topic cost of capital. Now in this video, the cost of retained earnings and the weighted average cost of capital. That is the end of cost of capital. Next video I will explain you about the dividend decisions. Then inshallah we'll start the problems. So if you have not watched the earlier videos, I suggest you go to the playlist of my channel. Select the subject Financial Management for BBA. Select the theory videos, be perfect about the concept and be confident in writing the theory. Take the screenshot of the points which I have written on the board, then I'll explain in detail. Now, cost of retained earnings. Actually, what do you mean by retained earnings? The earnings of the company which are not distributed to shareholders. That means the real owners of the company are the equity shareholders. So whatever the profit remains after paying interest on debt, after paying preference dividend, whatever left out profit is there, that profit, whole profit should be given to the shareholders, equity shareholders, because they are the real owners. They are the residual claimants of all the profit. But no company will give all the profits to shareholders. Just like simple example I'll give you in a normal personal life. Suppose if a person's net income or total income in 1 month is let it be 1 lakh rupees. Will he spend the whole 1 lakh rupees during the month? No. Out of 1 lakh, some amount he will keep in savings and the remaining amount he will spend. That means every month he is keeping some amount in savings. Why? Because future is uncertain. We don't know what will happen in future. So in order to protect ourselves from financial difficulties, some savings are made. Same is the case with a company. The company will not distribute all the profits in the form of dividend. Some profit is retained in the business. That profit is called retained earnings. So that have been retained in the business. They are also called pluffed back profits. One more term is there. We can call it as retained earnings or we can call it as pluffed back profits. These are internal generated funds. These are the savings of the company. And this can be a source of funds to the company. When the company requires funds, instead of taking the loan, instead of issuing shares, the company can use its own resources, own retained earnings. So it is the internal generated funds which can be used in the business. Now, if a company earns profit, such profit belongs to equity shareholder and they are the owners of the company. Just now I told you, the real owners of the company are equity shareholders. So all the profit should be given to equity shareholders, right? Because they are the real owners. If the profit is distributed to equity shareholders, such distribution is called dividend. What is dividend? It's the part of the profit earning of the company which is distributed to shareholders. The part of the profit which is distributed to shareholders is called dividend. However, companies do not distribute the entire amount. No company. Just like no individual will spend all his income. He will keep some savings. Same is the case with the company. No company will distribute all the profits in the form of dividend. Some profit will be retained. So some amount is retained in the company. Such profits are called retained earnings. The advantage of sourcing funds from retained earning is that it does not involve flotation cost. See here, there are many advantages of keeping this retained earning and using the retained earning as a source of funds. So whenever company requires funds, it can use its own source. So it has many advantages of using retained earnings as a source of funds. What is the advantage? Flotation cost can be avoided. Whenever company wants to procure the funds either by issuing debentures or by issuing shares, flotation cost will be incurred. in the form of advertisement, in the form of commission paid, in the form of brokerage paid. These are all the costs incurred in order to raise the funds. Without incurring the cost, the company cannot raise the funds. But these flotation costs will not be required when the company uses its own funds. So first advantage of using retained earning as a source of fund is no need of any flotation cost. It does not carry any fixed obligation in respect of payment of either interest or dividend. Once if retained earnings are used in the business, there is no obligation of paying interest or dividend for retained earning, because retained earnings belongs to the company only. So it is not procuring externally. Internal funds are used. So there is no obligation to pay either interest or dividend on retained earning. So first, flotation cost not required, interest dividend not required to be paid. These are the advantages of using retained earnings. Next, there is no charge on the assets. When debentures are issued, when bank loan is taken, some charge will be given on the assets of the company. That means the company has to give charge to the lenders. Then only the lenders will be ready to lend the money. But no charge is required if retained earnings are used. There is no dilution of control. When new shares are issued, the old shareholders' control will get diluted, right? But in case of retained earnings used, no dilution of control. Next, as an organization is not required to pay dividend on retained earning, it is argued that retained earning do not have any cost. So there is an argument that when we are not paying any interest, we are not paying any dividend, so there is no cost of capital. We are using our own money. That means it does not involve any cost of capital, because there is no need to pay interest, no need to pay dividend. So there is no cost of capital for retained earnings. There is no cost for retained earnings. But this argument is not prudent, not correct. However, retained earnings have opportunity cost. Opportunity cost means the cost foregone. Who is foregoing the cost? The shareholders. Because had these profits been distributed to shareholders, the shareholders would have invested somewhere and would have earned some return. Now they are foregoing the return because the company has not distributed. अगर कंपनी वो प्रॉफिट को डिविडेंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देता तो इक्विटी शेयरहोल्डर्स वो डिविडेंड के पैसे कहीं इन्वेस्ट करते थे, कुछ रिटर्न मिलता था, लेकिन दे आर फॉरगोइंग, नहीं मिल रहा बिकॉज कंपनी हैज नॉट पेड द डिविडेंड. तो दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट ऑफ द शेयरहोल्डर्स is the cost of retained earning. The opportunity cost of retained earning is the dividend foregone by equity shareholders, as they would have invested the dividend distributed to them. If the company had distributed that dividend, they would have invested and would have earned some dividend. They are foregoing the dividend. So whatever dividend foregone by the shareholders, that is the cost of retained earnings. Therefore, the cost of retained earning can be evaluated at the rate of return earned by the shareholders from an alternative investment of dividend. If the company had distributed the whole profit in the form of dividend, the shareholders might have invested somewhere and would have earned some return. Since they have not earned the return because the company has not distributed, so whatever return foregone by the shareholders, that is the cost of retained earning. The cost of retained earning can be calculated by using a simple formula. KR stands for cost of retained earning is equal to KE, cost of equity, into 1 minus T. 1 minus T. T stands for tax rate, into 1 minus B. B stands for brokerage cost on purchasing security. When the shareholder purchases some security, they would have paid some brokerage charges. So what is the brokerage charges that would have been paid by the shareholders if they have invested in some securities? That is called B. So by using this formula, we can be able to calculate KR, that is cost of retained earnings. That's it. In examination, very frequently they will ask the theory question regarding what do you mean by cost of retained earning, or explain the cost of retained earning. Very frequently asked question. So if you want the perfect knowledge, watch this video 2-3 times. Then you will get the points, you can remember, and you can write excellently in examination with confidence. That's why watch the video 2-3 times. Now, the last and final topic in this cost of capital is the weighted average cost of capital. Two steps are there. The first step, computing the specific cost of capital. The second step, computing the weighted average cost of capital. Computing the specific cost, already in the last video I have explained you how to compute KD, KP, KE. In this video, KR. So after calculating all specific costs, we have to combine together. All the costs should be combined together and calculate the weighted average cost of capital. That is called WACC. Very frequently in examination they will ask a problem on this WACC. So right now, what do you mean by WACC here? Weighted average cost of capital, WACC, is also known as overall cost of capital or composite cost of capital. So three names are there. We can call it as WACC, weighted average cost of capital. We can call it as overall cost of capital. We can call it as composite cost of capital. All means same. It is based on the capital structure of the company. If the company does not have different sources, if the company is having only one source, there is no WACC. Example, if the company is having only equity, no debentures, no preference, no retained earnings, then there is no weighted average cost of capital. The WACC will arise whenever we have a capital structure consisting of all the different long-term funds. Some amount is equity, some preference, some debentures. If the complete structure is there, then only we need WACC. Then it may be defined as the weighted average of the cost of each specific type of fund in the capital structure. So we are calculating the weighted average of all the specific cost in the capital structure of the company. Now once the cost of each specific source of finance is calculated, WACC can be calculated by assigning weights. Now we have to assign the weight. For example, the equity is 10 lakh, preference is 5 lakh, debentures are 2 lakh, retained earning 1 lakh. We will take the weights out of the total. Suppose 20 lakh is the total fund. Out of 20 lakh, 5 lakh. Out of 20 lakh, 5 lakh is the equity. So 5 divided by 20, you will get to 1 by 4, that is 0.25. So 0.25 is the weight for equity. Like that, 3 divided by 20, 2 divided by 20, 1 divided by 20, like that we calculate the weights. So in one column we take the actual amounts, in one column we will take the weights. Then we will take the specific cost of each funds. For example, KE. Already it will be given in the problem, KE, cost of equity. Then KP, cost of preference. KD, cost of debt. KR, cost of retained earning. Specific costs are given. So in one column we will take specific cost and one column we will take the weights. Now multiply the weight with the specific cost to get weighted cost. Now we apply the formula weighted cost divided by total amount into 100. You will get WACC, weighted average cost of capital. The concept will be more clear by doing 1 or 2 problems on WACC. This is the end of the topic cost of capital. So if you are satisfied, give a like to this video, share my channel among your friends, among your group, so that more students can watch the video. And subscribe my channel if you have not yet subscribed. And in the comment, give the message from where you are watching the video, because my video is being watched in more than 20 countries apart from India. So I want to know from where you are watching and what are your views regarding this channel, regarding the videos. So inshallah we'll continue the next topic, dividend policies. in the next video.